Right, so today guys, we're going to be working on the hands. Now this tutorial is going to be a little bit longer and it's going to involve adding bones. My hands are generally rigs of their own, so they attach to your main rig basically. Again, in order to keep the length of the tutorial down, I've used reference sheets this time. If you watched the last videos of my teeth, I imported teeth that I had before just to keep the video down, and the same again this time. As you can see, we have two hands. Now what we want is this hand to be able to turn in this hand at the end of the video. So by adding bones and smart bones and activating your turn smart bone, it will turn from this to this. Okay, so again, if we start, we're going to start by adding a few layers. We're going to need a few here. We're going to need one for the hand, one for the finger, or for the four fingers, and one for the thumb. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers. We're going to name this one hand. And call it little finger. Well, I'm going to call it L finger. We call this one ring or R finger. M for middle finger. F for forefinger. And then we're going to need one more for the thumb. Okay, so let's just start drawing this out now. Select your add points tool. As I said, I always like to draw width 1. And we draw out the basic hand shape. So I'm going to start from here. I'm going to adjust these points so that they fit. I'm going to straighten out this curve, but I want this one to be here. Like that. So if I remove this, we now have this shape. That's the basic hand. If we go for the little finger now, we just need to do a shape matches the little finger. Now we need to add points in the middle, because where we're going to add the bend to the finger later, we need to make sure that there's a point in the middle of the finger which allows it to bend. There. And put one in the middle there. There. And I'm just going to close that off. I think I have too many points, to be fair. I don't need that many. You round that off. And you basically do the same for the rest of the other fingers. Yeah, I'll do one for the ring finger. So I'm going to add one in the middle, the tip to give it a curve, one in the middle there, do the middle finger now, forefinger, and the last one is the thumb. So if I remove these, this is what we're left with. Just tidy this up a bit by using the curvature tool. Let's bring these in. It needs to be a bit bigger. It's got stumpy fingers. Alright, so that's the basic gist of it. We could just go and colour all of these in now. So I'm going to use just a basic white. So this finger, white. Actually, what we can do is if you click, and if you go onto shaded, click shaded, and if you go at the bottom and click on threshold only, and reduce the offset to about 1 and reduce the blur to 0. So the offset's at 2 and the blur's on 0, and we get that kind of effect. I'm just going to add these to the rest of the fingers. Oops, not that colour. Copy this, add it to that one. This one, add that, and the same to the little finger. Thumb and the hand. So on each finger now, I want to use the hide edge tool and just remove the edges from the bottom of the fingers. Like that, and for the thumb also. So this is our basic hand. I'm not sure if I like the way the shadow's placed. To be fair, that's better that way. Little steps. Okay, so there we have our hand. So now what we've got to do is add the bones. So I'm going to create a new bone layer this time. I'm going to rename that hand, and I'm going to drag all of these layers into the bone layer. Great. And now we just need to add the bones. If you go to your bone layer, click on your add bone tool, and you want to do a bone to the wrist, and then a bone for the hand. And then you go to your little finger and you just do 2 bones. So you do one here, one there. Select your main bone again, just so that they're parented to your main hand bone. Do a bone here for that finger. Should we give it 3? We're going to give it 2, just for the sake of ease of the video. If you wanted to have it 3 finger bend, you could just add another bone, but for this video, I'm just going to add the 2. Again, add one here, the center, another one for the forefinger. And last 2 is for the thumb. I'm going to do it like that for the thumb. It's kind of bent like that anyway. Okay, now we just need to bind all of these points. So I just bind the fingers to, or the thumb to their bones. I don't really attach them to the hand. I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so we're going to use point binding. So we're going to just select all of these. We're going to select all the points first of all. I'm just going to bind them to this main thumb bone here. And I'm going to select this bone, and select the points from on the edge of the bone and bind those ones to that one. And the same for the forefinger. I first bind all the points to one bone, then select the top bone and bind these points to that. I'm just going to quickly do the rest for the other fingers. And the last finger. Just like that. Okay, and then the hand could just be bound to this bone here. So, okay, if you go to your bone layer and select all of the bones and go to your bone strength tool and just click and drag them out to your left, take the bone strength down completely. So now if we go to the hand, it's all bound properly and it all works. So that's step one. Now we need to add the smart bone function. As you can see, these all bend nice as well. So what we'll do is if you click on your add bone tool and you just drag a bone up, drag it straight up, and we're going to call that, okay, we're going to go to bones and we're going to make it a smart bone dial, and we're going to call that turn, or we call it hand turn, and we're going to have a minimum angle of 90 degrees, maximum angle of 90 degrees. How long should it take? We're going to give it 48 seconds. So we're going to 2 seconds, 48 frames. All right. So you have your bone. So in effect, what we want to do is, let me come out of this. Use your smart bone dial. When it turns to your left, it flips the hand and you get this image. Well, not this image, but it flips it and it's now at that angle. So what I should have done is drag this into our hand layer. And now, what happened to this bone? I think this bone was parented to something. Yeah, it shouldn't have been parented to this bone. Okay, so now it's a standalone bone. So if we go back into our hand turn action, and what we want to do is, if you go to your 48 frame, I'm just going to drag this over here like this. So now I'm able to go into my hand bone layer, and what you want to do is select the transform bone tool. It's very important that you select the transform bone tool. And you click on this bone here and you just drag it over to here. And you can just flip it like that if you like. Oh, not like that. And again, with all of these bones, so if I look, this bone comes to here, this goes to there, this goes to here, and this goes to here. So if I move the picture now, that's what you're going to have. But if you look at it, you have your turn. Okay? That's the basic premise of all turns that I use. Whether it's my body turn, my head turn, or my hand turn, my foot turn, it's all the same. So all it takes now is to fix the in-between. So halfway, you go to your hand layer and you will just drag these in here to make it look like a side hand. Now I don't have a reference for the side hand, so it's just going to be from memory, but this is just a quick demonstration. Okay, and then you go to your, just adjust the thumb like that, and in effect, if you look at it, you have your turn. So you go here, you go back to the hand, and you just kind of fix these to make it more resemble that part, so it all fits nicely. And then what we want it to go back to how it was originally, so you can select this frame 0, select the points on frame 0, and paste them back onto your 48th frame. Okay, so it goes from quarter, side, back again. And then this is where you just go in and redefine where you want to put your fingers. Okay, so if you look now, you have a working hand. And that's the basic premise of getting a hand turn done. I'm not going to sit here and fix up all the little details. I'll do that off camera, because I don't want to take up everyone's time. It's already running into the 20-minute mark. I want to keep it under 20 minutes if I can. Doesn't look like I'm going to be able to. But yeah, so we might want to just maybe fix with the layer order in a bit. So what we'll do is okay, so when it gets to here, I want to put the hand. Okay, if you click on your bone layer, double click, and if you click on depth sort, you want to go to enable animated layer order. Alright, so you want to enable that and click apply. And what that's going to allow you to do is during your turns, you can switch the layers about. Okay, so what we want to do is have the hand layer go above the fingers at some point. I'm just going to choose here. See how that looks. So on the 12th second mark, if you go to your hand layer and drag it above the fingers, you'll see it will jump. Yeah, that works. Okay, so I went in and took maybe 10-15 minutes just neatening up the hand. I done that off camera because I didn't want to, as I said, put another 15 minutes onto a really long video. So all I did basically was in the hand turn action, just neatened up the way the fingers looked, but I didn't add anything. I maybe added 2 points to the hand, just here and here, just so that when the hand spins I get this line here. And what I did was use the hide edge tool to hide this line and leave this one visible. So when it spins round, it's blank there, but we have the line here, a la this picture here. Hope that makes sense. Anyway, so now we have our hand. What we want to do is give it a bit of movement. So on my rigs I have about 10 different actions that my hands can do, from a fist to a spread, pointing, and different things that his fingers can do. I'm going to show you one or two just to show you guys how to do it, and when you get your own rigs you can add whatever function that you want or you need your hands to be able to do. So the first thing I would do is make sure that no bone is selected, and go to your hand bone layer, and I want to select add bone tool, and we're just going to add the bone here, and we're going to call it, okay, so we're going to have it go from left and right. Left is going to be, say, make the hand spread, and the right action is going to make it clasp into a fist. So we get 2 actions for 1 bone. Alright, so we're going to name this one, we're going to go to bone, and we're going to go to make smart bone dial, and I'm going to call it spread / fist, and we're going to leave it at 90 degrees minimum plus, and we're going to leave it also at 48 frames, sorry, and we're going to click OK. So for our spread, if we go to our 48 frame, okay, and if you go to your translate bone tool, and if you just go to this bone here and just move that out there, move that out there, move that out there, and do that, and you can even do it for the thumb. I'm going to make these a bit wider, as wide as you want it. So as you can see now, when that bone activates, you get this action on the fingers. Now what I would do is go into each individual finger and say, let's say the 4th finger. I'll click on the layer, click on the transform point tool, and just here, I'll take this here, put that there, I want that there, like that, and do the same for the middle finger. Ring finger, say, and the little finger. Just make it all match up nicely. So now when it does it, it all fits nice. Now for the fist, if you click on, go back to your main menu, and you click on spread fist 2, there should be a second one. And if you go to your 48th frame, what we want to do this time is something slightly different. So if you go to your hand layer, you want to go to your transform point tool, your transform bone tool again, sorry. And this time what we want to do, we want to shorten the bones to give it the effect of fist grasping. So if you click here, you just pull to the left. Same here, you just pull to the left. You just do it for each bone. At the top of the bone. There you go. So now he makes a fist. And to me that looks a bit flat. I don't like it when it looks flattish, and the way I get around that is by going to if I click on the bone, if you go to bone constraints, and if you go to squash and stretch and maximum I key, and if you take it down to 0.1, so click on the bone, click on bone constraints. I know for some reason my recording device isn't recording the options, so you can't see what I'm clicking, but if you click on bone constraints, click on squash and stretch scaling and scale it down to 0.10. If you do it on each of the bones, so you can just select all of these bones with the thumb and click on bone constraints, and again set them all to 0.10. Now you can't notice it, maybe you want to do it to 0.2, but it takes away the flatness, so to speak. But you guys can play around with your own settings and get your own desired effects. But that's the basic premise of doing a fist and a spread. I'm going to add one more to show you guys. Now what we're going to do is add the same function, but we're going to do it when the hand is in the opposite direction. So what we'll do is, on your bone layer, we want to click another bone. Add bone. And we want to add another bone, and we want to call it, I'm going to call it palm. Make smart bone dial, and I'll call it, I don't know, palm fist. Just so that when his palm is fisted, like facing, yeah. So now, what we do isn't, okay, so like before, we're going to go to our 48th second, and on the 48th second, we want our hand to be clenched. But this time, we don't want to do it when it's facing this way. We want it to do it when it's facing the other way. So on our first frame, we're going to go to your transform bone tool, and we want to go to our hand turn bone tool that we just created, and we want to turn that all the way around. So now the software knows that when it's in this position, on the 48th second, do this. So all we do for this one is grab this, and bend that down like, whoops, bend that down, and bend that down, go in, you want to bend that down like that, and you want to bend that one down like this. So in this position, so obviously now when it's like that, we want to go, obviously the hand needs to be behind the fingers in this instance. So on the first frame, we're just going to take the hand, I'm going to drag them below the fingers. Okay, I've had a thought. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go back into my original hand turn layer, hand turn action, sorry. And I'm going to remove the point where the hand jumps above the fingers just by deleting this here. So now if I go back into my palm fist and do this, you'll see it makes the fist action. So this one, maybe we could just drag these down a lot more. Let me just do the thumb. And we could just neaten up the layers. So that would look like that. That would look like that. That would be like that. Maybe here. So, what we have here now is a working hand that does a fist in both directions. If I grab this one, does it like that, or if he spread his fingers. I mean, I could have added the thumb, but I know you guys can do that. And or likewise, if the hand's turned and I activate this one, he now does this. And I'm going to leave it at that. There are many different actions that you can add to your own hands. It's just a matter of adding extra bones by going to your bone layer and selecting the add bone tool, and you can have your hands do anything you basically want. What you might want to do is, if you go to your second hand turn, one way it goes this way. If you go this way, you might want to go into it and, for instance, just do the other side. So if I was to do that, I would just, instead of having the thumb come above the hand and flip, it actually goes the other way and would end up here, and your little finger would end up on top. So you'd have a little bit of layer ordering to do. So on your, say your first frame, I would bring the little finger actually to the top, and I would bring the thumb below the hand. So it does that, and then all the other fingers, you just put them into the middle, fix the hand here, and this thing poking out here is just the thumb, so you just go to your thumb and you just pull it up here. So now if you go out, get rid of this, one way, the other way. Just got to play with the layer ordering and neaten up the lines, and everything will look good. Yeah, so I hope you guys liked the video. I hope you learned something, and I actually do these videos because I couldn't find this sort of stuff myself when I was looking for it, and I had to basically teach myself. So I hope you guys actually picked up some information that improves your workflow and helps you to create better animations using Anime Studio. If you've got any questions, leave a message in the comment section below, and check out my next video. I think we're going to be covering feet, then we're going to cover the character creation, we're going to go into rigging, and then the final one will be smart bones, and that'll be all the body turns. So yeah, stay locked and check out the next video.